Hey guys, here with another review today. Do you mind to make? Well, I guess you could if you wanted to. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Yeah, it needs some work. But what we're going to talk about today is another EHPro mod. Copper Caravela, or the EHPro Copper. Is it Caravela? I don't know. I don't know how to say it. But say it how you want, I guess. Because this thing is pretty. It's so simple and it's so sleek and it's just so pretty. Of course, it's a mech mod, so there's not many pieces to it. Actually, I take that back. There's a few more pieces to this than a normal mech mod. And I'll show you. I'll show you why. Okay. First off, the top cap. Your standard 510 connection. It's super shiny. It's great. The threads on this are really smooth, which is, that's awesome. Smooth threads are a must for anything, because if you don't have smooth threads, you're gonna have a problem. Alright, now the bottom bit here. Okay, your reverse lock ring, which is interesting because, as you can see, that little copper bit is your locking bit. I like saying bit today. Bit. Okay, get that out of my system. But yeah, it's reverse threaded, and it just goes up and down to lock it. It's got a really, it's not too hard to throw, I guess. It's really smooth. It's a little clicky, which is kind of cool. It kind of reminds me of the old typewriters, like the buttons. Just click. And inside you'll see a little hole there, which I've actually had to use. I have been playing with this mod this week while I got a bunch of stuff to do around the house, so I was like, well, I'll just play with it, before I review it. And it was kind of hard to resist because it's so pretty. I mean, how could you not? But yeah, I had to use that little hole to kind of help finagle this, because the little locking ring has gotten stuck once already, and it was kind of a problem, but I got it fixed now. I think I figured it out. Because this little screw here that holds on the actual button part was too tight, I guess. Which sounds weird. Like, normally you want stuff to be tight so it doesn't, like, come apart. But yeah, it was, like, too tight. And, so when I wasn't really paying attention when I was locking or unlocking it, I would over tighten or loosen the locking ring and it would get stuck. So I just loosened that screw up a little bit and that seemed to fix it. Okay, now after you pull that screw out, it's a nice hefty little screw there. You got your main bit there, and the locking ring screws out of that base part. So and there's a little golden spring inside. I don't know why, but it makes me happy because it's gold. It's not like, you know, the standard silver. They actually made it. I mean, everything that's involved with this mod like goes together so well. And there's the bottom button part. Yeah, this is the part that got stuck. But when I took it apart, I did run some others polish on it to kind of help lubricate it a little bit and get rid of any like possible burrs that was in the threading. I'm sure some of you are probably aware of mothers by now, especially with having all these shiny mods around. you gotta have your polish. Alright, so you just screw that little lock ring back on. And pop the little screw part in there. You just stick the screw and the spring on the screw. Now this part is tricky because it uses the rotation to you know, activate or deactivate the locking thing. You gotta like basically hold the screw and the button part in, so you're not screwing it. Like I spent, I don't know, like 10 minutes trying to get that figured out, because every time I tried to screw the button part in, it screwed the lock ring part in, and it was frustrating. But yeah, and yeah, it's just, you know, finger tight now. Before I had to whip out the pliers and this little, you know, these things. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these little anti-slip pads thing. Yep, that is really snazzy. Just gonna kind of throw it back together here, and then I'll talk to you about the other parts. Right. And the other part that is interesting about this is the pin. Now the pin is interesting because not only is it adjustable, it's like completely removable, and there's a reason for that. There's the little pin. Because what you also get is different pin sizes, and that allows you to adjust better for, like, depending on what kind of battery you have. Now, I got these kind of batteries with these EHPro mods. These are really nice batteries. I like these, but unfortunately, they do not fit the Valkyrie. They're a hair too fat, and that kind of makes me sad because I think I'm only going to use these for my mechs from now on, except for the Valkyrie, of course, because they won't fit in there. But, like, so basically you can stick any battery, you know, as long as it's 18650, of course, in there, and it will fit if you change the screws. Now for this, because it's we get one of these batteries, as I'm sure you're familiar with. It is a hair taller. I mean, just like, it's got like a little lip's worth taller than the Samsung 25Rs. Plus, it's also got the button top, so that can make things difficult when trying to get everything like together and flush. But really, I've had no problems with getting this like figured out. So what I normally do is I screw that screw out quite a bit and screw my tank on. Let's finish screwing that down. Of course, it's just gonna be a butt. That's why we have lots of screwdrivers. And again, I mean, like again, why would I say again? But I guess because the bottom bit, you know, it's basically the equivalent of, you know, finger screw tight. You don't want to really jam that pin in there, because that will cause problems later. Yep, and there's my Arctic on there. It looks pretty flush. And it looks pretty snazzy, especially with that drip tip, because everything is so shiny. Ow. I think I still have still wool in my skin, which is great. Yeah, but you got 3 screws to choose from. They're different sizes. Mostly, the middle one is almost the same size as the small one. Like, I don't know if it's actually the same size. I didn't, you know, get all meticulous and, like, you know, measure it with a microscope or anything, but, there's definitely quite a bit of difference between the medium and the long one. So I guess if I was to make any suggestions, like, make the medium one just one more thread bigger, and I think that would even out the sizing a little bit more. And there's also an extra spring in there, which is nice. Alright, and since it's mech mod, we don't really have anything to fiddle with. Nice paper. One thing that I have noticed was using this exact setup, like the battery in the tank and all that. I'm sure this is like a common thing, and like somebody's gonna be like, well, duh. I mean, but like when you get the battery first charged, it makes it seem like the coil is burnt. Like, it just tastes so good. So bad. So I usually had to stick like an RD on there for like a little while. I kind of like bring the battery down a little bit, but then it's fine. Like, okay. It's just not something you really notice with like box mods and stuff, like because it's regulated and seems like pretty thorough throughout the vaping experience. But coffee, gotta have coffee. But yeah, of course I'm still, you know, this is like really my first experience with Max getting these two, so I'm still learning. Like, I'm sure there's little tricks and stuff, but the RDA thing works for me, so that's what I'm gonna do, I guess, until I figure out something else. Or maybe just pull the battery off the charger sooner, so it's not like full. I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. But like, I don't know. Like, I really, really like this, and it's so pretty, but it is a little slick. Like, it's just slowly sliding out of my hands right now. So it does make it difficult a little bit, I guess. But the button being so light helps a lot. It's so pretty. I'm really excited about having this mod. And, like, I know I don't say that very often, so, you know, it's gotta be something special. Yeah, it is pure copper, according to the site, which is tarnish resistance, which makes me sad. It kind of does make me sad, because obviously, as you can see, like, I like copper, and I like the cool blue-green tarnish that it gets. It's fairly resistant to fingerprints and stuff. Like, I mean, if I look at it from the light, you know, bouncing off of it, I could see the fingerprints and stuff, but, I know, looking at it, like, straight on, especially, like, with the light in the back, you can't tell at all. It looks just like, it's super shiny, and that's what it is, but there is some fingerprints on there. Let's see. So, some of the newer ones come with a floating pin and an additional insulator for the top cap. I don't know. I don't think they'd sell the top caps just by themselves, so you can get a new one. But I guess maybe it might be out there somewhere, because I mean, there's always a site for something. But I don't know if I'd want that really, because I think it's kind of cool that you can switch the screws around and stuff like that. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, well, you know, a better chance to lose lose a screw. But like I said, you know, I'm just gonna be using that battery in this mod, like, strictly, so I don't have to worry about changing the pins. Okay, so they come in, you can get either 18350 or 18650. I got the 18650. Unfortunately, you can only get a copper in 18650, so if you guys are still using those 18350s, then dead base. But like, if you really like the look of this, and I don't see why you wouldn't, it's worth it to pick up an 18650 battery for it. I can just, you know, sit here for like an hour and video for you guys, but I'm gonna end it. God, I have stuff to do. But I'll see you guys in the next video.